Welcome. This is episode 3 of BNF Podcast. I'm with a great friend of mine that I've known for far too long. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is one of my oldest friends, one of my best friends, Jacob Mooney. Um, Mooney, I really appreciate you jumping on here. You didn't have to do this, but we had been talking about doing a podcast together for, probably even like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
It's been a minute. It was when you first rolled out QTP.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we just never got to it. And I think it was just the forum, because that podcast is like me and my brother. So switching it up, and it's just like this is literally what this podcast is designed for. And hopefully we can get like all the boys on like at once. We can do like a conference pod.
That would be really cool. Yeah,
that'd be fun, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to start this and just say, dude, you've been in my life forever. You've seen me at my highs, seen me at my lows. When I was in sophomore year of high school, my dad moved to New York. It was a very confusing time. And I remember when it all went down, I just called Mooney, and I think I sent him a text, and I was like, hey, man, like, this is what just happened. Like, can you hang out? And it was like probably midnight or like 11.
I think it was like 11:30ish. It was somewhere around there, because I remember I dropped everything. I ran upstairs because I couldn't drive yet. No, this was when we were like 15.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, but no, I ran upstairs. I was like, hey, Ma, this just happened. Can I go hang out with Brett? I know it's late. I think it was a school night too or something. No, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, I ran up there. I was like, Ma, can I please go do this? And we were out till like 5 a.m. It was just really good, chill, talk, listen to some music. I wanted to be there for you.
No, and literally, dude, I want you to know that was such a defining moment for me in my life, and you being there and really just helping me navigate through that, dude. Like, I don't know, I just want you to know, like, even if we don't talk very often, or even if we don't catch up, as much as we should, like, I speak so highly of you to like everyone I'm around, and you've just been like a very important person in my life. And Jacob Hart, I was telling you this earlier, but he's another one of my like childhood best friends. But he was like, dude, when all that went down, I was like, oh, Brett's gonna fall down a path of drugs and alcohol abuse.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
And I don't know what would have happened if you weren't there. If you weren't there to be like just my rock, dude. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. And this forum, it's not about me, it's about you. So let's just dive in, man. Like,
all right.
So just give a brief overview of like what you're doing and what you've been up to, like college wise. I know you just shifted your like profession or where you're working, and if you want to talk about that transition, like, feel free, bro.
Yeah, I guess where to start? There's a lot. I guess I'll start kind of more towards the beginning of this recent summer. That's where everything really started going good for me. So beginning of the summer, I kind of was like, well, shoot, it's summer, can't really get an internship anymore. Really bummed about it, because I interviewed to a couple of places, and I was like, oh, it's too late. And then I got Carson actually sent me a link to another not interview. It was like an application. I applied for that, just kind of like a shot in the dark. I didn't really expect anything to come of it. So I was serving at Zona, kept serving. I was kind of networking too. I was talking to a couple of the regulars that come through Zona. They all work at Raytheon, so I was like, hey, let me see if I can get in. I was talking to them, seeing if I could get an internship or something, but that didn't end up working out. And then they actually called me up, the company, and they wanted to interview me. So I went, interview went amazing. I talked to the guy. He was supposed to set like a 15-minute timer. Totally forgot, because I was the first guy to talk to him. So we ended up talking for like a good 30 minutes. And he's like, oh, wait, I gotta give these other guys a chance to speak to me and stuff. And then a little while later, I hadn't heard anything, so I started making my school schedule and everything. And it's loaded. It's packed. Every day, 9 a.m. all the way until like 4 or 7:30 p.m. Um, and they texted me like, "Hey, we'd love for you to come and work with us." I told them like, "Oh, it's not really gonna work out too well because I have school the entire day." But I ended up messing with my schedule a little bit, and it worked out in favor because now I work there Monday and Friday. Super cool stuff. It's everything I've ever wanted to do. Super cool company, family owned.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of it's really laid back, which is super nice. And I've been just designing stuff based off of drawings they give me. Been talking, and I've written up like a couple of engineering trials. So far, really fun. I enjoy it.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And that family owned element, why was that, the first thing that jumped to your mind, dude? Because it's totally different. I know like corporate world versus family owned, but like what to you stuck out?
Yeah, so I guess going all the way back to like my Safeway days. I don't know if you remember me working there at all, but I kind of that sucked a lot. I didn't like it. It felt, I don't know, I was just like a courtesy clerk. It wasn't much of anything, but I didn't feel like I had much of a place there. I didn't really feel like they cared at all, and that's completely different. My boss is always checking in on me. He's making conversation. I know him pretty well now. I don't know if they're co-owners or if it's like one brother is the main guy, but there's two brothers at the top, and they're always there working with everybody else. They're never just kind of doing their own thing. Their hands are deep within the company, so I really like that aspect of it. And it's just overall, it's just a really different environment. It's something I look forward to.
Good. Yeah, I felt something similar with Perry Ellis. Like I was signed on as like a part-time manager, and we were working like 45-hour weeks, just for me, and my boss was putting in like 60-hour weeks because we only had 3 people on staff. And it's just like, dude, that corporate world, and like we were just fucking grunts, and obviously like we had no say. It was all about numbers still. Like nobody looked at the amount of people we had on staff. They were just looking at our KPIs, and whereas I feel like with a family-owned business, there's so much more room for, a relationship to like be established with, with the owners, with the company, and like you really start to align with their work. And so that's beautiful, dude. I'm glad you found that.
Another thing is like, I feel like growth is more genuine with that type of company. As you're moving up within it, it's not just like a new position. It's more of they're just entrusting more to you is kind of what it feels like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you talked about your Safeway days, dude. And, I have some questions regarding that, but I think, dude, you need to tell the story of that guy that walked in with like the blood.
Oh, man, dude, that was crazy. So, this was kind of during, it was like the height of COVID. Like it was mid-COVID. So I had to sit outside, spray the cards down, wipe them, and I just had to wait for people to come and bring them to me, spray them down, wipe them. It's really boring. Just kind of falling asleep, so I'd people watch. I don't know if you've ever just kind of like not doing anything, kind of look at someone, they're doing something really weird. I saw this guy limping in. I was like, okay, interesting. He looks totally healthy, totally normal looking dude, but he's kind of got like a limp. Like, I don't know, whatever. Didn't think too much of it. A couple minutes later, I just kind of look in the store. There's a trail of blood going down the chip aisle, like where you get your Doritos and Takis and stuff like that. And I see my coworker wiping up the floor. And I was like, what is going on? The guy that was limping walks back out. I see the blood running down his leg. And I look inside the store a little bit more. I walk down the aisle because my manager asked me to go help him clean up the blood. And it's just a pool of blood where he was standing. He was like looking at a bag of chips. It was probably a good foot and a half in diameter, just a pool of blood.
Holy shit.
And the trail going back out the store. I walk back out and I see him sitting on the side. The paramedics are finally there. I kind of take a peek over. I've never seen so much blood in my life, just on the ground. And apparently he'd gotten shot a couple weeks ago. Never went to the hospital. The bullet was still in his leg, and it reopened the wound that it had gone into. You got a massive artery in your leg, and I think that might have been like struck or something because there was so much blood. And it made me a little queasy. And I feel like I have a pretty strong stomach, but seeing that in real life versus like an Instagram reel, it's a big difference. It was wild,
dude. That's one of the craziest stories. And
it's the east side of Tucson where nothing bad really ever happens.
Dude, shout out to your coworker for cleaning that up.
Yeah, she was a beast. She got it all.
It's bad, dude. We had something in Perry Ellis where, I never felt that feeling of like, oh, I don't get paid enough for this shit. But until because I was making $14 an hour, so it's like we weren't getting paid enough to do anything.
It's crazy that the minimum wage is more than that now.
I know.
Or it is at 14, I think.
Man, but we had a dude that like came in and he wanted a suit, so I like sized him up. And as I'm sizing him up, he's like, "Oh, you sizing me up, man?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just getting your measurements." And he's like, he started like pressing me. I could tell he was just cracked out on something, And I fucked up with my initial phrasing of like, "Let me size you up," but
I don't know. I feel like that's pretty. I feel like you don't need to specify like.
I know,
dude. You're not gonna be finding this dude in a suit. What? Okay,
dude,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're perfect, dude. So we put him in the fitting room, and I'm with my regional manager, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, that guy is like cracked out for sure. Like something's wrong. And she's like, okay. So she like starts knocking on the fitting room door. And she's like, hey, you okay in there? You okay in there? Whatever. And dude, I swear to God, that guy walks out like 10 minutes later, and he has like cuts on his face or like something weird, dude. And I just like, when he walked out, I was like, I'm not gonna look, I'm not gonna ask how the suit was. Like, I know what's gonna happen, because he came out in the suit and he walked out and just left. And I went to the fitting room, because we have to clean the fitting room after every use. And dude, I walk in there and there's just a paper bag sitting on the fucking bench, and I'm like, what the fuck is in this bag, dude? And I open it, and it's a crack pipe, and it was just used, bro. And I went to my regional manager, and I'm like, hey, like, there's a crack pipe in this fitting room. Like, I don't know what you want to do. And she's like, we're not filing a police report. She's like, we're not doing it. She just threw it away, dude. And we didn't file a police report. She's a menace.
No, that's wild. I remember I was in Cali. It was me, Carson, Ty. Maybe it was, no. It was me and my ex-girlfriend. We were coming back from Cali. We stopped to get gas.
You guys went to Cali together?
Yeah. I was picking up parts for my dad. I think he got Humvee parts or something like that. We were coming back, and in the planters, holding, I don't know, I think they was holding trees or something. But I looked inside of it, and there were just crack pipes chilling in there.
Dude.
Just casually, just sitting there. I thought it was crazy.
It's such a weird, like, off-putting feeling when you see something like that, dude. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, you know it's a possibility, but at the same time, you're like, do people actually do this shit, And then you just get put in that environment, and you're like, oh, it's gross, dude.
Yeah, it was, when I went to work for my dad, it was kind of eye-opening to see that whole side of the world, because we live on the east side, but his company's on the south side of Tucson. So like going over there, seeing the kind of worst part of town, it was interesting.
Right. So you talk about you talk about like, working with your dad and I just want to touch on that a little more because I think in my life I don't know, I've always admired how you've talked about your dad and when you were working with him, you were always telling me like all these interesting stories and like all the experiences that you get to have and you speak very highly of him and I just want to like get a general idea
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
your relationship with your dad and I've never met him, dude. For as long as I've known you, I've never met him. But just what is that relationship like, and I don't know, how does he inspire you?
Um, Starting off, I think he's one of the smartest people I know. Just in mechanical or just overall knowledge, it feels like he's gone through the School of Engineering multiple times. But he, yeah, I don't know. You come up with an issue, he knows how to solve it. I don't get it. It feels like he knows everything. Um, so when I first went to go start working with him, I went to learn a little bit, so I could, I don't know, change my oil and stuff like that because I didn't know how to originally. Now I'm pretty decent with cars, which is such a nice skill to take out of that. But yeah, we did some really cool stuff. I guess for people who don't know, he owns a towing company. He goes around, he does all the big trucks and everything like that. Um, and I guess, I don't know, a couple stories. There was a garbage truck one day just doing its normal job, and some piece escaped out of where it's supposed to be dumped into, and it hit there's compressed gas, like containers on those dump trucks, and it got really hot, it caught fire, and the entire garbage truck was burning. Smelled, I think it was the worst smell I've ever smelled in my life. So we got there, fire department was there. Fire department was like, "Hey, we got to get this out of here. Can you hook it up while it's still burning?"
Yeah.
So we hooked it up. The fire truck followed behind us, and we drove all the way to the city dump and dumped it off there while it was still on fire, still burning.
Holy
Flames
shit.
weren't coming off of it or anything, but you could see the smoke coming off. That was really cool. There was a sinkhole in the middle of the city that a Suntran bus had like partially fallen into.
Yeah.
So we had to go over there, and I don't remember too well how we got it out, but we had to get it out. That was really neat. I kind of like peeked over the hole. It was a good 15-foot drop. It was massive.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it had a bunch of pipes and stuff down there. So water got in there, washed it all out somehow.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
Dude, that fire story is like out of a movie, dude.
It was really cool. kind of scary, but it was really neat.
Was your dad stressed at all, or was he like, just strap it up, boys?
Nah.
Let's go.
Nah, man, we strapped it up. The only thing he didn't like about it is when those things are fully loaded, they're so heavy. So we were hardly moving through the gears and stuff when we were driving. But
Yeah.
nah, that was cool. What else? What else have we done? We've seen some crazy vehicles come in, just like how mangled they get. I remember for a really long time, I wanted a motorcycle because I'd ridden dirt bikes when I was younger. And this guy came in to come take a look at his bike, and he was in a full, it wasn't like a body cast, but his whole entire body was harnessed so it could support itself. He was with the walker. His leg was broken. His arm was broken. His whole entire body was pretty much broken. And I took him to his bike, and the property's like a good 2 acres, so it was like a 15-minute walk out to his bike, and we were trying to find it. And when we finally got to the last pallet it could possibly be on, it was a mangled ball of just metal. I didn't even know it was a motorcycle.
Dude, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did he tell you about the accident at all, or?
Yeah, I asked. He said he was out riding with his friends. They were doing a tribute ride to one of his friends that had just passed away from going out on a ride.
Yeah.
Kind of really unfortunate that happened. But he said some lady cut off in front of him on the highway. He went over the handlebars, and the entire I don't know if it like hit the median or something, and that's how it got all crunched up. But it was a mangled mess.
Dude, that's not good, bro.
Kind of,
like,
yeah, it scared me away from motorcycles a little bit. So
yeah, if I ever got a motorcycle, I think I'd be like, I already drive like a grandpa, is what people tell me. So, you know, I think on a motorcycle it'd be even worse. I'd just be so cautious.
Yeah, I feel like we brought that up before. How it's interesting that people have such different driving styles.
Right.
You and I drive very different from each other. You're definitely the more cautious of us. I remember just thinking in my head when you pulled up behind somebody at a stoplight, I'm like, why are you so far away from them? But you were not even that far. I just get up close to people, I guess.
Right. Plus, your car is lower, so like, you know.
I feel like, yeah, it's pretty low. So I feel like I don't know. It's weird, but
dude, talk to me about the Corvette, dude. just like, bro, that is the. I remember when you had texted me, you were like, dude, I've never done this before. Like, you think this is a good idea?
Yeah, it was, and at the time I thought it was a good experience buying the car. In hindsight, never should have bought it. Never should have got it. Especially, well, if I had bought it from an auction and gotten a loan outside through a bank or a credit union, that would have been totally fine. I didn't know the ins and outs of how they kind of like get to you and scam you. I'm seeing a Corvette. I test drove it. I want to buy it. I don't really care too much about the price. I haggled them down a good $3,000, which was really nice. It was originally posted for 28. I bought it for 25.
Nice.
But then they got me with the loan really bad. It's 12% interest.
Oh my god.
Over 60 months. I have enough money to cut like the loan. Like I can pay 2/3 of it off right now if I wanted to, but I'm waiting because I'm not working as much this semester and I'm breaking even with the payments. So I figured just in case something happens, I should hold on to the money.
Right.
But yeah, go in. I talked to them, super excited. My dad wasn't even here. He was in. I think he went down to El Paso. He was towing a truck all the way out there or something like that. And I was talking to my mom. I was like, "Hey, mom, I'm gonna buy this car."
Yeah.
Because I'd wrecked my GTI like 6 months before, and I was kind of tired of driving this old pallet junk Tahoe that we have. So I was super excited. She's like, "Well, you're just gonna buy it without telling your dad that you're gonna go buy a car?" I was like, "Yeah, probably." She's like, "We should wait," and so I did. And my dad came in with me to the dealership. He starts haggling them even worse. He was really all up in the business. He was like, "I'm a dealer too. I know what you guys are trying to do. I don't want my son to buy this car from you because I know you're trying to scam him in some kind of way." I was like, damn, Dad. And yeah, he was going at it with them, this and that.
What a beast, bro.
They didn't budge at all, which kind of sucked. But I mean, it was a nice thought and gesture. So I ended up going through with it. He gave me some money to put down on the car too, which was really nice. And I think giving them cash as partially a down payment bit us in the ass really hard. Because I was looking at my loan when I first got it, so I put 12,000 down. 12,000 off of 25. That's a good 55% down payment. So
dude,
my loan should have only
incredible.
been 13,000 plus tax and whatever, not maybe like 16, 17,000 at the very most, and it ended up being 21,000. So I don't think they took that cash down payment at all. I think they just pocketed it.
Really?
And then, yeah, I went back to check on the company itself like a couple weeks later. Closed down, out of business.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah. So I think that's how how they got us.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Dude.
I didn't ask to see the papers or anything like that financially before we signed the deal because they told me this. I expected that, but I didn't get that.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
dude, they just shut down their business like
Well, I
anytime they make
think
a sale. No, no, just kidding.
but yeah, so that happened. I was like, well, shit, I'm out of luck, I guess.
Dude,
Um,
that's not good.
no, not at all. But I mean, I'm still really happy with the car. I love it. And then like 2 or 3 weeks later, the radiator cracked open. I was like, oh man, I just bought this new car and I have to fix it up. Um, but that was cool. I got to learn how to change a radiator all by myself. So that was a good experience.
It's good, dude.
Other
And it
than
makes a
that,
statement, dude. It makes a statement when you're driving around. I remember, dude. I saw a Corvette to my right, dude.
oh,
Is that Mooney, bro?
yeah. And then
Wow.
we stopped at Scented Leaf and we talked for a good couple hours. That was sick.
Yeah, dude. That was amazing. I think I don't know. Anytime you and me just sit down and chop it up, it's always a fun time, and I always end up learning like something completely new about you. And it's dude, you've been through a lot, bro, and you talk about, or we were talking about just your transition from work, but you also had an interesting transition when it came to college that I think is like such a beneficial conversation to have. You initially went to Pima, and now you're at the U of A. Like, talk to me about that and how that felt.
Yeah, so my initial thought going to Pima, super cheap. I think the tuition was $1,300 a semester, which is just nothing compared to the universities. Give me 1 second. Sorry, you're breaking up just a little bit.
No, you're perfect, bro.
So, yeah, the initial thought was it's going to be way cheaper in the long run. I don't really care how much time I spend at Pima, which is a great thought, but it didn't end up working out that way. They're not nearly as organized as U of A with their classes, so I'd sign up for, what did I sign up for? I did all my English at Pima, which was really nice. I did calculus, a couple of the classes there, and that was really great. I got some really good basics out of it. I thought the professors were better than the U of A by far.
Really?
Yeah, no, the U of A professors blow compared to Pima.
Really?
It's not even. If I can understand what they're saying in class, that's nice, but I can't.
Right.
I can't. But at Pima, yeah, their classes weren't very organized, so they had a lot of the classes at the same time, or they were 10 minutes apart at like the East Campus versus the West Campus, which is 20 minutes away. So there's no way I'd ever make that. So that put me behind in classes, and rather than being in college for 4 years, I'll be in it for 5 years, and I'm spending more money now because I'll be at the U of A for 4 years versus I would have gone there for 4 years and I would have had a $2,000 scholarship from the Wildcat Excellence thing.
Right.
And it would have saved us money.
Gotcha.
But, oh well. I learned. I told my mom all about it. I tried to get her to have Amanda go to the U of A right away, but she didn't really know what she wanted to do. She wanted to take things slow. So that's a really good use for Pima.
Right. It's kind of like a buffer. Like, you're still going to be in college. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Because she's doing all her horse stuff, which takes up a lot of time. So the Pima's a better fit for her in general.
Right. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I've had meetings with the U of A and Pima, just both on the executive side, and it's so different how those organizations are run, dude. Like, it's weird. U of A, it's so hard to get a hold of anyone on like any decision maker or anyone of importance or value. It's so hard.
Advisors.
Dude, you cannot get a hold of anyone there. It's so weird. Pima, they have like directed like business partnership people like assigned to like anything you need basically. So it's way easier to make traction at Pima and like get a meeting that you really need to have. But that's on the work side and like sales. So I'm sure U of A just gets like an influx of like a bunch of people, and it's like who's calling Pima. But I will say, dude, the professionalism at Pima is pretty up there. Like it's not too bad. Like at the end of the day, it's just a big company, but in Tucson they do a good job. Whereas I think the U of A, I mean, we saw it with that, like, what was it, $400 million
Yeah, 475, I think.
Dude,
475 million.
it's crazy. Like, how does that? Why was there not more backlash? Like,
What
on
was
the
it? It was
state?
like they like over budgeted. They thought they had this much money, but they didn't actually. They spent it all. And
Yeah, and then the counselor, or my bad, yeah, the chancellor Robbins like resigned. He's like, man, fuck this. Dude. I'm not gonna deal with this aftermath, dude.
yeah, we have a whole new president now.
Is he cool?
I don't know. He's an engineer though.
Wow.
He's a mechanical engineer, which I thought was interesting. Going from that to being a principal,
Yeah, dude.
big change.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's probably gonna be good for your program though. Hopefully
We'll see.
make some changes. But they cut what? They cut scholarships. They cut professor pay. They cut.
They were heavily considering like cutting a lot of the sports programs, which isn't good because U of A football program is good now.
Basketball.
The basketball's always been really good. Track, I don't think they have. I talked to somebody that was supposed to be there for track. I think they changed coaches or something, and a lot of people dropped it. Yeah, they're trying to cut or just trying to find ways to save money.
It's sad, dude. It's like it's not. I don't know. Just I could not imagine being a freshman and you sign up for, like you figure out how much the tuition is or like how much aid you're gonna get, and then they just cut your program or cut your financial aid. That's gotta suck, dude. It's gotta be pretty bad.
Yeah, nah, that would blow. I don't know too much about the details on the cutting, but yeah, it was crazy hearing about that. I just don't understand how that much money gets lost.
Dude, and then it just gets like pushed under the rug too, which is even crazier.
Yeah,
Like,
it came out full month, everybody was all over, and then everybody seemed to forget about it just a couple weeks later.
it's nuts, dude. It's like the political state that we're in, dude. But you had referenced your little sister earlier, dude, and I know, I don't know. I have a younger stepsister now, and I always was like, I never realized like what you felt until this person was like brought into my life, and just like that feeling of trying to be like a role model, I guess, or like keep your shit together so that they can like learn by example or anything. Talk to me about that, and like what kind of responsibility, I guess, do you think you feel as like an older brother, and just what was that like growing up and having to set the bar?
Yeah, so I guess my first memory of having some kind of conflict with my sister, I don't even remember what it was over. We were children. It was probably something stupid. But I ended up like pushing her, and my mom got livid. She was really upset. She's like, "You can't do that. You can't push girls. You can't hate your sister. You can't do any of that."
Right.
And that kind of immediately set the tone for me. Like, oh shit, I fucked up. I gotta be like up there. I gotta make some kind of role model out of myself. And she's doing her own thing in her own different ways. She's doing it really damn good too. I don't know how much influence I really have on that. I think it's more so like a supportive role. Like, she wants to do this, go do it. Let's talk about it and make sure like it's a feasible idea or thing to go and do.
Right.
We just had a conversation like that, the whole family, the other night, because she got a job offer to go to Florida, and she could bring the horse she's training all the way out there. They have a huge um, event where they do all the horse competitions and stuff like that. She can really show off the horse and probably sell it to somebody out there that's pretty rich, pretty well off. Um, and the only issue was it would be from October all the way to March. So she'd miss all of her college, she'd miss all holidays and stuff with us, and the pay would be pretty rough. So I kind of was like, well, if they don't think you're worth this amount, they're just kind of like throwing the job offer at you. I don't really think it's probably a good idea to go and do that.
Right.
She also has a horse that's pregnant right now. Is gonna have its baby in like February, so she'd miss out on that too, and just be my mom taking care of the horses, which I'd help her out, but I don't really want that to be pushed all the way onto my mom.
Right.
So we talked for a little while. We're like, right now the timing's just not good. If the job offer will be there for next year, give them your resume, and let's talk about you going and doing it next year, because
right.
the timing's just bad. So I think in that way of just having a level head and talking things through has been pretty helpful. I also, since there's a lot of money in the horse business, I made like a little competition between her and me. I was like, all right, I'm going to be making money in the future. You're definitely going to be making money in the future. Let's see who makes the first million.
Right.
So she's like, all right, let's do it. Hell yeah. So
that's awesome, dude.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's incredible, dude. I don't know. I think having that, because you're right. It's like you play a supportive role. You're not trying to be overbearing and be like, oh, do this, do this, do this. It's literally like you're there to listen. You're there to, just talk and answer any questions or concerns that they may have. And, some people go over the top and like they involve themselves, even in friendships. Some people are like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do this? Or they just involve themselves too much. And, at some point you have to let your friends, do their own thing, let them learn on their own. And same goes with family. It's like, I'm not going to direct my sister, like, you need to go here, here, here. She's talking about going to college in California. And I'm like, you got to look at the pricing, but if you still want to do it, like, like all the power to you, but it's so different. Like, I remember being the younger sibling and just, growing up and you always have someone to look up to, and, you're making mistakes and you're just, trying to get on your feet. And I guess like chasing that, not approval, but chasing that, that relationship even harder, like you always have that. But I think as an older sibling now, it's like my goal is just to make sure that my younger siblings know I'm there, and because I could just leave and never talk to him again, and like I would never do that. But like there is that end of things where you lose that autonomy in a way, but it also is the most liberating thing ever, because you have people who you can talk to and people that you're trying to make sure that you look, I guess, cohesive for. Yeah,
that's something I've learned in the last couple of years. Kind of like you gotta let the person be who they want to be. You can give them advice, but there's really nothing you can do in the long run to kind of tell them who they should be. There's no reason you should have any authority over somebody's life like that. And that's something I learned pretty quick in the last couple of years. It's just you kind of have to let them be that person that they're going to be. You can give them advice. If they're going to listen to it, they will. If they won't, they won't. That's their choice.
Right. Yeah, we I don't know, bro. Again, we've been focusing really on like transitioning and all that. So I think you should, talk about like your sex change and like what you want to pursue. No. No, I'm just playing. But I do think
I got a pretty good tug going on.
Oh yeah. But dude, I do want you to talk about just your previous relationship and like coming out of that. And on the last podcast I did, I really talked about like, okay, when I became single after that long relationship, I went through like this whole journey of like really trying to understand who I was, because I live with a girl. I know you have a very similar situation in that sense, and it's not like you were codependent on someone, but you definitely, like, this is how I feel. Like, I wasn't codependent, but I definitely built enough of a relationship to where obviously when I was single it was completely different. I was lost. I needed to find myself. I had no clue where I was going. And can you talk about that? Like, just that
absolutely
journey?
It's it becomes so habitual to come home to that person and just hang out, do your thing with them. But then when they're up, they're gone, everything's gone, cut ties, you're lost. I didn't really know what the hell to do. It's I put so much work on my plate that summer that I was damn near drowning in it, because I had work full time. I double almost every other day. I'd work from 10 all the way till like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And then I'd come home and I would do homework, because I had a chemistry class and I had a general education class. So I had no time at all to kind of like sit there, process, and figure things out for myself. I just overloaded myself with work. And then before I even gave myself a chance to really do anything, I'd gone on a couple of dates and I started messing around. And I was like, the hell am I doing? Like,
Right.
what's going on? I need to take a step back, figure things out for myself. And then that's when I started focusing more on school than anything, because I felt like I didn't have enough time to focus on school, and the other things that were pretty important to me, I feel like that time was all sucked away. And
Right.
so that semester I was learning about how I like to study, how things are organized really good for myself. I can see like the process of me figuring out how my organization works in my notes. It's kind of cool to look back at it and see how everything's just in a disarray. And then I go to today and everything's really neatly laid out. And I can tell that's helped me really, really good in the long run. Just last semester, I had gotten mostly A's, and I got like 3 A's and a couple of B's in my classes, which is so good for the classes I took last semester. I was really, really proud of that. But
Yeah,
then also having
you're not in easy classes, dude.
no,
Like, your classes
not
are
at
crazy.
all. And then another thing I kind of learned, just going to the gym and also like comparing myself to how others are doing at school, that comparison's kind of a thief of joy. It's not a good thing to be doing. I'll compare myself to like my previous self all the time. I like doing that and kind of reflecting and seeing how far I've come. I think that's fine. But if I sit here and I compare myself to you, we're doing two completely different things. We manage our time differently. We use our time differently. And it's not a good thing to be doing. So that was a big takeaway I had. I don't compare myself to others anymore.
Dude, you have no idea like how long it takes people to like come to that realization, and even then it's like not all people do. People limit themselves over said comparison. People just they don't pursue the best version of them, and they kind of live like a fake life and pursue like, I don't know, just trying to be better than someone, and that is not a healthy way to live. That is not noble. That is not like, there is such thing as healthy competition. And I think you and your sister doing that road to a million, like whoever gets there first, like that's sick and that's healthy, because you're like, at the end of the day you want to see her succeed as bad as you want to succeed yourself. And she's in a different avenue, you're in a different avenue, but you have a cohesive goal together. And it's a race, but at the end of the day it's like, it doesn't matter who hits the finish line first, because you're going to be equally as excited if you cross that. You
Yeah,
know?
it's kind of like I think I texted you this last week or something. It's like if I want something, I see it, I'm gonna go and get it. I'm gonna work really hard to go and make sure I can obtain what I want.
Right.
And that really that heavy want is what drove me to take the job I have right now. Is what has driven me to take on like a hard class load. What's driving me to complete college in general.
Right.
Um, so I feel like that's something my mom has also taught me is to always be really persistent, um, and just to not give up.
It's good, dude. It's and you know, your last relationship was very serious. You guys dated for a pretty decent amount of time, and
Like 2 years, I think.
yeah, that's crazy. Um, you know, and isn't it weird? Like you don't feel, or maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I felt like I didn't make these personal realizations as much as I do now. You know, because like again, you talk about, or at least when I was in a relationship. Does that make sense? Like when I was
Yeah.
in a relationship, I wasn't, you know, learning about myself. I felt limited or something. And I definitely was with the wrong person who wasn't like promoting my self growth or, you know, supporting that end. It was all about us, you know? And I've noticed and I've realized like being single for as long as I have, dude, it was such a process of like finding myself. And, you know, I genuinely was so lost. And I did what you did of just like slamming myself with work and just like, I didn't have time to reflect. And I was like, why am I so sad? Why am I so sad? You know, I wake up in the morning and it's like I'd never slept, you know? And it was like that for months. And I would just like get up and I'd be like so tired, go to work the whole day, work out, go for my runs, and then go to sleep, wake up, and it's like nothing changed. Like I didn't feel better. And I kept telling myself, dude, I like held on to my faith. I held on to this idea of, okay, I might be here emotionally, but if physically and if work-wise and financially I can get up here, this will come up eventually. And it was, I will say that was not the right way to look at it. Like but shit has to get done still, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I still had to be good physically. I still had to be good financially. And, you know, I think if I were to do it again, if I were to go through a break of that caliber, it would literally be focus as hard as you can on your emotional state and find the answer that I need, and then, you know, fully book yourself up and keep chasing. Because I do think that end of who I am is so important. Like I'm gonna always, hopefully, till I, you know, can't anymore, I'm always gonna work, I'm always gonna run or lift. And I think those things are like, they need to be consistent in my life, because if they're not, I'm gonna lose myself again, and I can't let that happen, you know?
1 second. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm talking to Brett.
Oh.
What's up? Do you need some?
No, and then it was like, yeah, Jake sounds like he's in an interview, and I'm like, oh, really?
I wish.
Dude, tell your mom I said hey, bro.
Pick up a horse from-
Brett says hey, by the way.
Hi.
Hello.
She said hi back.
Thank you. We'll be about an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye.
It's far too wholesome, dude. But yeah, dude, I think that was my perspective on getting out of my situation. And you know, it was the hardest thing ever, dude, to like finally come to like find peace in everything. And one of the greatest things that a good friend of mine told me, she was like, let the ground rest. She's like, you don't need answers. Like what you really need to do is just let the ground rest. And when I did that, it's very much like women. Like when you're not looking for a relationship, you end up in one. When you're looking, you end up in nothing. It was like I was looking for answers when I should have just let them come to me. And I know that's like kind of contradictory to, you know, what I said about emotionally, like find the answer. But I think those answers come in me. You know, it all begins with what's going on internally. So what I mean by like chasing the answer is like read more, gain perspective, talk to people, and no, exactly, dude. I used to feel like this sense of like I can't talk about the situation out of respect for my person, and I never want to feel that again, because if I don't talk about it with, let's say you, for example, like you and me wouldn't have learned so much about each other and so many similarities between our situations.
It's crazy how we were going through the exact same thing, the exact same time, never talked about it.
Never talked about it, dude. And it was just like, it was out of respect for your person and my person, but at the end of the day, it's like we gotta look out for each other,
Yeah, it's you have to have a life outside of your relationship. You can't be cooped up. You can't be going and seeing this one person all the time. You have to be able to get out. You have to be able to live, and that's kind of like, that ties into letting a person be themselves. Of course, you have to spend time and work out your relationship, but there's still who you were before that relationship that still has to exist. Otherwise,
Right.
It's not going to be a mutual and healthy relationship. It'll just end up crashing and burning.
Right. And if you're with someone that doesn't know who they are, you start to have like that derealization on your end as well. It's like you are who you surround yourself with at the end of the day, especially if someone, you're waking up next to them, you're sleeping next to them, you're, going every meal of your days with them, you're just talking, it's that, those are the thoughts that will enter your head, and you might have a good sense of self, but if you let a snake in, or if you let those thoughts in 24/7, it's like naturally you're going to start having, self identification issues, or you're going to have, you're going to have something, and that's not good, and that was the point of this podcast. And I know I briefly brought this up, but it's like, you are who you surround yourself with. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Those are two adages that have been so important in my life. And Mooney, I was telling people, I was like, how do I make content that fully is me, and I was like, I love my friends, I love my family, let me just do like interview style content, and people get to see the perspectives that are in my life, and that's me. Like, you are me in a certain sense, and I am you, like, dude, without you, I genuinely, I would be so lost. So, I think having that sense of realization was so important, and it really did take that breakup and that whole, finding yourself thing to get here. Mm-hmm. But dude, you hit it on the head. I'm sorry for ranting, but you hit it on the fucking, like, I've had that realization, and I think about it every day. And sometimes I'll be, let's say, texting a girl, and I'm like, why did I say that? Or like, I'll bring up a question, I'm like, am I texting too much, whatever, and I'm like, this is so undeniably me, why do I even question it? Mm-hmm. And I'm human, I'm going to question myself, but I'm getting to a point to where I'm just like, as long as I'm me, I'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be okay, So, man, dude, it's such an important topic to me, and I know you're on the same journey, but I kind of left this last question for the end, and I left it because your mom has been like, I don't know, I don't have many experiences with her, but I know how important she is to you, and out of the relationships that I've seen, like with my homie's parents, like, your mom has always like looked out for me. And I remember biking to Tanque Verde to see Chachi play basketball. I don't know if you remember that, but I hid my bike in the desert, and you were at the game, and we chilled the whole game. And your mom was like, on our way out, your mom was like, bro, like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, my bike's in the desert, like, I'm gonna bike home. And she was like, no, like, you're gonna get the bike and put it in the bag. and you guys drove me home, and so I'm very appreciative of that. And anytime I see your mom, it's always like, it's always super friendly, and I don't know, she's an amazing woman. So I guess my question is, like, how is that relationship defined who you are as a person?
Yeah, it's shaped my entire life. It's where do I even start with this? She had a horrible, horrible childhood. It was beyond fucked up. I hope nobody ever experiences something like that. And um, rather than going through the path of drugs and kind of like hating the world and just kind of taking everything in the worst perspective, she kind of took it in the best light possible. She's like, when I grow up, when I'm a mother, when I'm this and that, I'm never going to be like this. I'm never ever going to let something like this happen to my future children or anybody I love. And that is where I realized like her teaching me to be persistent is a life lesson she learned as a very young child, is just going through everything she did. So I kind of, it's not exactly comparison, but it's kind of like, well, if she went through that, if she did something like that, so she's really an amazing person, but if she went through something like that, then I have this really, really beautiful household that I've grown up in. It's been solid, perfect, no familiar issues. So I should be able to thrive and I should be able to reach these goals I want. So it's another thing that kind of pushes me.
Right.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. She's done so much. It's just not even possible to try and repay what she's done for me and my sister too. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That makes me like, gets me in my feelings, bro. It really does, dude. Because I know what you're. It's like I couldn't even describe the love that I have for my mom, and I know it's similar and for you and your mom. It's just like that's a different type of love, Like the love that we've felt in relationships is so different than the love that your parents are gonna have for you, and it's so easy to like talk on a podcast and say this is what life is like, this is here, but that is like I can't even describe how my mom feels about me, at all.
I don't think I'd understand something like that until I have a child.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, the will to do anything for your kid has got to come from a crazy amount of love.
Definitely.
I can't comprehend it yet.
Definitely, dude. And then I guess when you have a kid, you also get like crazy forearms as a dude, bro. Oh my God, have you noticed that? Any dad I meet just is
you're right. It's like a different kind of strength. I swear. Like I consider myself in my own respect pretty strong, but then like I'll see my dad working on some stuff, and you're like, here, come here, give it a try, boy. And I'll be doing it like, what the fuck? This is so hard. How are you doing this?
Yeah.
He'll kind of just laugh and he'll make fun of me. Like, I thought you go to the gym. I thought you did this and that. And I was like, well, shit. I don't know, man.
Yeah, right. Dude, it's a different kind of strength. It's so funny, dude. It's the dad forearms, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, I'm really grateful that you've had those relationships in your life, and you've had your mom and your dad and your sister, and it's all been like a cohesive piece. And again, it's a full learning process, as family. Like, family's very difficult, but at the end of the day, you guys are all bonded in the love you have for each other, and that makes it so much easier to navigate through. So, I'm very grateful you have that. I'm very proud of you with everything that you've been doing and everywhere you're going. So, I'm excited to see what life has in store for us, and just know I'm here every step of the way, and thank you for doing this with me, man. I think that's
I was super stoked when you asked me, so I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. Why not?
Be amazing, dude, and we'll get the boys on here.
Yeah, that would be
Soon,
sick.
bro.
So, is this kind of for in any way like for your future children to see too?
Without a doubt, dude.
Right.
That because like
I gotta say, yo, Churchy, what's up, man? It's Uncle Mooney here. It's been a while since we talked, but I miss you.
Dude, Churchy, bro. It has to happen now.
It
dude.
has to.
Oh my gosh. For context, I want to name my kid Churchill. Churchill Bradley. We'll see if that happens. Oh no, it depends on my suitor. But perfect. This has been episode 3 of BNF. Like, thank you guys so much for watching, and appreciate it.